Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the How to Build series where we're going through every single champion in the game and I'm putting together a quick guide for newer players who want to know how to gear a champ, where to use a champ, how to use a champ, things of that nature. I won't be going into later game stuff and masteries because that gets a little convoluted and specific based on how you want to use someone. So again, this is just geared to the newer players to send them in the right direction with a particular champ that they may want to try to build. So that being said, let's jump into it with Skink. He is a lizard man attack champ. His base HP is a little bit higher than what I typically see on a rare attacker. It's not anything crazy, but it's a little bit up there, I think. Base attack is nice enough, over 1300. Base defense is whatever, and his base speed is a little bit on the lower end. It's not just atrociously low, but it's a little bit on the lower end. So let's take a look at his skills. First skill: attacks one enemy, will ignore block damage and shield buffs. Okay, so this is pretty cool, actually. Block damage can be a really aggravating skill in Arena, in some of the dungeons. Some of the wave champs have block damage, and sometimes, and they're generally pretty slow. So once they get that up, if you can't strip it or cut through it, it really slows your run down. There will be that last Crimson Helm or something on a wave with that block damage, and you just keep turn cycling around her because she won't come off that. It's either block damage or unkillable. It's one of those. Those are both really annoying. So this will be nice for situations like that where the block damage is up. He can cut right through it like it's not there. Also, the shield buff is nice to be able to cut through as well. And this is helpful for places like the magic potion dungeon where he has that humongous shield. He'll just ignore it. So in the meantime, while you're waiting on the rest of your team to strip it off, or if you don't have a stripper, cut through the shield, he's just ignoring it and doing damage through the shield. So he's particularly going to shine in Magic Dungeon if your stripper's not doing what they're supposed to do, or you don't have a stripper yet. You take a couple of skinks to a magic potion run and the shield's going to be irrelevant. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool little first skill. Second skill: attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Places a 50% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns if the target has a decreased defense debuff. Okay, so this is pretty cool too. He's got a defense break in his kit, so that's defense breaks are always nice. Again, particularly in the potion dungeons, Force dungeon for example, and the heal reduction will be nice in the Spirit dungeon because that heal gets really aggravating, especially as you start to climb up a little bit. So if you have anybody else on your team with a defense break, then he'll land a heal reduction on this skill instead of the defense break. If there's no defense break up, then he'll land the defense break. So either way, this skill has potential to do something useful, but it's looking like this dude's really going to shine in potion dungeons in particular. Basically, the first 2 skills seem to be designed around being effective in all the potion dungeons. In the first skill, we're ignoring shield, which is for Magic Dungeon. On this skill, we've got a defense break, which is for Force Dungeon. It's good everywhere, but it's specifically it's useful in Force Dungeon, and then the heal reduction is useful in the Spirit Dungeon. So it seems like we're kind of leaning towards this dude being useful in the potion dungeons. That's how it seems to be going at this point. Third skill: attacks one enemy. The hit is critical if the target has a heal reduction buff. This is a pretty cool one too, because if he's just thinking about his kit, if the enemy has a heal reduction debuff, they also probably have a decreased defense debuff as well, which means when he crits with this skill, it's going to do quite a good bit of damage. So I think this also kind of gives you a fun way to kind of build him even earlier in the game. Anytime somebody's got a guaranteed crit in their skill set like this, you can kind of have a little bit of fun with it. So yeah, I'm thinking he shines particularly in the potion dungeons, and I think he fits into all of them, to be honest. I think he's good for all the potion dungeons, and again, maybe some of the dungeon waves, other dungeons where some of the enemies have the block damage buff. This, he can help you speed that up a little bit and get through those waves a little quicker. And technically in PvP, you're going up against the Raj card or something like that who puts up that block damage. Yes, he can cut through that, but if the whole team has block damage and he's only hitting one of them with his first skill, he's not going to be one-shotting enemies with his first skill. So it's kind of going to be a moot point to take this to Arena, to to use it for those circumstances. So I really think where this guy's going to shine for you is the potion dungeons, specifically. So, oh, and then he's got a magic ally attack buff in all battles. So for gear, I would put speed. Speed is going to be pretty important on him. Accuracy is going to be pretty important on him. Attack is obviously going to be pretty important on him. And then we can also focus crit damage on this guy because you don't need crit rate. Generally, I tell you when you're earlier on, just kind of ignore crit rate and crit damage for a little bit because it adds 2 more stats that you have to worry about, and it becomes a lot harder to hit your key stats when you're trying to incorporate these other 2 stats into the build. But because we're not going to worry about crit rate on him, sure, it would be nice if these 2 skills were critting, but this is really going to be the damage. This is really going to be where the money's at for his damage. So we can ignore crit rate if we would like to here, and just focus on this one critting when there's a heal reduction buff up, a debuff up. So you can either build him the way I would generally tell you to build an attacker, and go attack percentage on the gloves, attack percentage on the armor, and speed on the boots. And then just look for attack, speed, and accuracy in your substats, because again, accuracy is going to be really important for these 2, for the defense break and heal reduction. So you do want him to have a little bit of accuracy so he can land those debuffs. If you wanted to play around with it and try to make this skill hit way harder when there's a heal reduction debuff up, then you can go crit damage as a main stat on the gloves, attack percentage on the armor, speed on the boots. And then in your substats, look for attack, speed, crit damage, and accuracy. And that's it. That's what I would put on him. I wouldn't focus a ton on anything else. You just want to ramp his damage up as much as you can. And again, with this being a thing that always crits if heal reduction up, you put another person on your team with heal reduction debuff. That's just going to increase the likelihood that there's a heal reduction debuff up. And then when he smacks with this skill and there's a heal reduction up, you'll notice a substantial bump in damage, especially if there's a defense break up as well. So pretty cool little dude. And it's something you can do some fun stuff with even early on. You don't have to just do that cookie cutter early game attack build, just focusing on attack and speed. You can actually go crit damage on the gloves and have a little bit of fun with it. And occasionally, when things align right, you'll get to see him smack for a substantially higher amount of damage than normal. So pretty cool. I think he would be fun to use. I do think he would actually be useful in the potion dungeons. So you could build him and use him in there, and I don't think you would regret it. Pretty cool little champ. Looks cool. Unique, fun little kid. So yeah, I think he's fun. I think he's worth a little bit of effort. So that's going to wrap it up for Skink. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, drop them below. Any comments, drop them below. And that's going to do it. I'll see you guys in the next one.